Most people think the draft starts at 2, right? Because whoever the Washington Commanders take then sets us in a path of what quarterback goes next, what a quarterback goes next, et cetera, et cetera. And that's probably mostly accurate, but I think the draft starts obviously at 1, not just because Chicago hasn't officially made the pick, but because it does set us on this course, and it's a very unique first overall pick in the draft. By my estimation, Caleb Williams is the first of his kind. The first of his kind. We've seen other transfer quarterbacks go number 1 overall. We've seen other transfer quarterbacks who play for Lincoln Riley go number 1 overall. We've seen other Oklahoma quarterbacks, other USC quarterbacks. We've seen guys who have great years, win a Heisman Trophy, and then sort of disappointing years in their final year in college, go number 1 overall and have varying degrees of success. What we haven't seen is the generation of players that have never been told no before. Never been told no before. And that's what happens when you throw a lot of money at people. It's really hard to tell them no because you have skin in the game. Remember, this is Caleb Williams, who didn't play his high school senior year because it was a COVID year. And despite that, he's come out and said, hey, I thought I should have started day 1. Like, I was really mad I didn't start day 1 when Spencer Rattler was there ahead of him. And Spencer Rattler at the time was thought to be the number 1 quarterback prospect in college in America. Yeah, it took him some time to beat him out and to get that opportunity. But the fact is that the reason Caleb Williams thought for sure he'd get to start and play right away is, well, he's never been told no before. Then his coach leaves, and if you remember, again, the timeline of it, when the initial portal window opened, he didn't transfer right away. It took a long time to get that deal done. What does that mean? It was a bidding war. And unlike quarterbacks in previous eras, I know that Joe Burrow didn't have to sit out, but Joe Burrow also hadn't played, and that's why he got his degree at Ohio State. But guys had to sit out previously when they transferred in. Couldn't play right away. He didn't. You know why? Because we don't tell these guys no anymore. He doesn't, listen, I don't think the story landed well, and I don't think he would ever do it. But the fact is, he would make more money staying in college than he would playing next year in the NFL. Now, the reason that you want to play in the NFL is you want to get through that third year and get your second contract, because that's generational wealth, the likes of which college sports to this point cannot compete against. He's not the first transfer quarterback. He's not the first quarterback to get paid. He's not the first quarterback to have great success followed by a disappointing season. He's not. But if you factor in all of those things together, and then you have the eccentricities of the fingernail polish, the things written on him, the use of social media, some of the confidence bordering on arrogant statements. This is a different generation of dude. A different generation of dude. And that's what he represents. That's what he represents. Remember, Eli and Peyton Manning came from wealth. That's the first family of football. Archie is an amazing dude. He's really well respected. Andrew Luck came from wealth. But Andrew Luck, Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, you name the quarterback, Deshaun Watson, pick the number 1 overall pick. That's a bit of quarterback. Successful affair, it doesn't matter. They came from different levels of the economy. But the difference is with this one, it's not Caleb's dad that has money. It's not his family that has money. Caleb has money. And I'll take from Chris Carter that says, Chris Carter always said, money doesn't change you. It makes you more of who you really are. And then you factor in the old Mike Tyson expression saying, which was, if you want to see real tragedy, give an 18, 19-year-old a limitless budget and not have their parents around and see what happens. Now, he does have his parents in his life, but they haven't been with him for the last 3 years. And he does have millions of dollars, and he's basically been allowed to do whatever he wants with it. And, oh, yeah, by the way, things are going to get hard for the first time around, and he's never been told no. He's never been told what you're doing is wrong. He's going to be on his own. He's going to be professional. He's going to be viewed as a guy who is arrogant or super, super confident. And it's going to be fascinating to see how this works out. Oh, yeah, by the way, you have a quarterback-deprived city. You have a city that Chicago has a lot of amazing things. Despite the fact the weather sucks, even in the summer, it might be the best summer city in America because everybody comes to Chicago to go to the lake. I hope you understand that. Like in New York, I love New York summer. It's a little hot, smells a little bit of urine, but on the weekend, you can park anywhere on the streets because people go either to Connecticut or upstate or to a lake, or they go out to the island, they go to Montauk, they go down the Jersey Shore, they scatter. Right? You go throughout all of these cities. Miami's too hot in the summer. Texas too hot in the summer. Chicago might be the best summer city in America. They have great sports fans. They have some great tradition with the Bears. It looks like they're going to keep the Bears in Chicago, right by the water. All those things are good. Right? They no longer have the curse of the Billy Goat, no curses with the White Sox, no curses with the Bears. And though the Bulls aren't currently a championship caliber team, they do have the Michael Jordan legacy. Like all of these things, it's a great sports town. It's an amazing place to live. You know what they haven't had? They haven't had a franchise quarterback. So you walk in with a confidence not previously seen, right? Because nothing gives you as much confidence as, I got $10 million in the bank. If I fail, I'm rich. I'm good, right? You walk in with he's not a West Coast guy, right? He's from D.C., but the perception is you come in from SC, painted fingernail polish, do things a little differently, walk differently, talk differently. That gets viewed, if you don't play well, on a more negative scale more quickly. What's the expression from Bull Durham, Jay Stu, about being eccentric when you're in the minors?
About foot fungus.
Yes.
If you win 20 games in the show, then you're eccentric. If you lose, you're just a clown in bad fungus shoes, whatever. Yeah,
you got bad hygiene. You're a slop. Right? Which is the same thing for Caleb Williams. If you win, nobody cares. Literally, a people champion. Everybody will start painting their nails in Chicago. Everybody start doing the Caleb Williams thing. Whatever touchdown celebration. But if you lose, or you're not super successful early, it's another Mitch Trubisky, California guy with the fingernail polish. He doesn't care. He's got money anyway. It can be used against you. This is a very different era we are entering into. We have had transfers before. Obviously, we've had players that have gotten paid before. We've had quarterbacks that have come from affluence before. We've had guys come from Lincoln Riley's system before. We've had quarterbacks that have been Heisman Trophy winners. We've had quarterbacks that have been Heisman Trophy winners and then not been as good the next year. All of this we've seen before. We have not seen all of these things together in this type of packaging, personality, and you're going to Chicago. It's a different deal. 2024 is the first year of the true NIL transfer quarterback. And if you don't think that changes how we look at things, I will give you one very, very easy analogy. I've used this analogy for the entirety of my time in radio, and it always works. Are you guys familiar? I know, does anybody get the newspaper anymore?
The physical paper?
Yes.
No, I don't. No.
Dan Byer, any physical paper you get?
We somehow have gotten a subscription to USA Today because it's on my driveway every single morning.
It's amazing. Sam, when was the last time you got a newspaper in your driveway?
Oh, man. I mean, I subscribe to a digital paper, but I have not, probably a couple years at like an airport, I purchased a newspaper.
My mom still gets the Orange County Register and the LA Times, Orange County, okay? But in those papers, you may have remembered on the Sunday edition, they would have the Parade magazine. And on once a year in the Parade magazine, they would have what people make. And your entire perception of people changes based upon what Parade magazine said their field made in Dubuque, Iowa. You're like, well, what, you kidding me here? A librarian in Dubuque makes $75,000? Well, that's got to go a long way in Dubuque. Right? A postal worker in Cheyenne, Wyoming makes $1.25? And then you start thinking like, man, can you imagine the weather in Cheyenne? That goes a long way. How long? You don't have the factors of how long the guy's been at his job, how long he's been doing it, what else he does, whatever. But you read those magazines and you look at people differently. You're like, dude, the garbage man makes $100,000. I don't feel so bad for the garbage man. Like, that's not a bad gig. Plus you get full benefits. Or if the garbage man makes $40,000, you're like, dude, I feel really bad for him. I'm going to separate my trash. I'm going to do it the right way. I'm going to make sure. And for like a month, you line out your trash perfectly. We perceive people totally differently. We do it with athletes. Same guy can be on a rookie deal, signs his next deal. You're like, this guy's a bum. He's not worth $30 million. Well, last year he was only making $2 million and he was underpaid, right? I say that because it changes our perception of people. And then when you have money, one, everybody knows you have money. You're supposed to dress different, act different, walk different, talk different. Surround yourself with better, smarter, more forward-thinking people. You're going to be different once you get that first big check. Everybody is. You'll feel yourself a little bit. And then at some point, hopefully you have people around you that help level you off. Caleb Williams is the first. And because no one really knows how much he made at SC, but everybody believes that it's upwards of 8 figures over 2 years, he's walking in with a bunch of change in his pocket. He's walking in with a huge social media following. He's walking in with a perception, maybe not a reality, but perception of being just kind of a West Coast dude, unafraid to push the bounds of how we view sexuality as well as leadership and quarterback play. A guy who is literally irreverent. And he's going to a place that's in the Midwest, hardcore football. They've been dying for a quarterback for 50 fucking years. And you better deliver, dude. Otherwise, it's going to be a hard run for you.